Hello! Good to see you. If we haven't met, I'm Jane. A couple weeks ago, I put out a video of Holy Grail watches and paired them with who we really truly are on the inside, and a lot of people had fun with it, which is amazing. The bad news is I may have created a small existential identity crisis. A few of us, including me, didn't have our Holy Grail watches included. We don't have an identity yet.
I guess I don't have an identity.
No vacheron. I guess I don't exist.
Can you make a part 2 with a Cartier crash? I want to know my true identity.
I'm going to address that by going over a new batch of Holy Grail watches, which will hopefully help this situation. If your Holy Grail is the Cartier crash, I'm going to assume right now that you're a genius. And the good thing about being a genius is, of course, you can change the world. And the bad thing about being a genius is sometimes people will not immediately appreciate your ideas because they're not thinking as far ahead as you are. History has a lot of people who have been misunderstood by their genius, and one of the great examples reminiscent of this watch is Salvador Dalí. He also painted The Persistence of Memory, which has a very similar feeling to the Cartier crash. My unsolicited advice to this group of people who appreciate this watch is find the people who are smart enough to appreciate you, and with their support, you will do far more than you ever thought was possible. If your Holy Grail is the Richard Mille RM5003 McLaren F1,
why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step. I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bets. Cause we know where we at, we know we top tier. Cause all the hate that you bring, we know it stops here. I'm taking off like a rocket here and stopping here. It's strange how they cannot see the future, but see profit here. Wait up, we gon' always win. Promise that that's not a promise, yeah, that is a threat. You know that I promise to bring the team commas. When the whole team win, that's when you flex. Win, and I'ma do it again. Watch me win, then watch me do it again. Tell 'em I can't take no loss. My team hold no L's, no. Aiming for the top, can't make it by myself. I ain't taking no.
If your Holy Grail is the IWC Mark 11, said to be the first pilot's watch within the IWC Mark series, you appreciate learning about history at a deeper level than most of your peers. Although these two things I'm about to mention occur earlier in history than your watch, you may really enjoy reading The Rise and the Fall of the Third Reich and watching the documentary series World War II in color. And if you want something a little more in the era of your watch, I recommend reading The Power Broker by Robert Caro, and also taking a look at Caro's biographical series about Lyndon B. Johnson, who was the 36th President of the United States. Right now, Caro is 89 years old, and he's working on the 5th Lyndon B. Johnson book. He has made significant progress, and his plan is to finish the sections on Medicare and Medicaid and then go to Vietnam so that he can speak more to Lyndon B. Johnson's unchecked power as he escalated the Vietnam War. A lot of people who are interested in these books are hoping that Caro finishes everything before he passes.
Hello, I am Jane's computer. If your ultimate watch is the Rolex Submariner with a black bezel, black dial, and date window, then your mind is sharp, your muscles are strong, and your penis...
Hey! Next, if your holy grail is the breitling navitimer, I will describe your identity based on something that you're prepared for. And the thing you're prepared for is if you are one of two star-crossed lovers separated by cruel fate, and you're both racing across grassy fields toward each other like two freight trains, and one of you departs from Boston at 6:36 p.m., traveling at 55 miles per hour, which is about 88.5 kilometers per hour. And the other one of you leaves New York Penn Station at 4:19 p.m., moving at about 35 miles per hour, which is 56.3 kilometers per hour. And in this moment, you're wondering, at what point will you finally reunite? If your holy grail is the vacheron Constantin 222, then you are literally William Bradley Pitt, more famously known as Brad Pitt. I think this watch was released around 1977, but I've looked at this watch for years online and I cannot find anyone else who actually owns it. I don't know how to break this to you, but you're just going to have to be fabulously wealthy and successful. I'm sorry. You're not going to be able to help it. I don't know what you'll do, but I hope you'll be okay. Next, if your holy grail is the gold panthère de Cartier, unfortunately you're going to be literally me, which is obviously disappointing. But if you're seeking the slightly larger version, then you will be a modern-day Pierce Brosnan. Look at that watch. My husband's going to sing the theme song of the movies he was in so we don't get a copyright strike.
Now do Patek 1518.
If your holy grail is the Patek Philippe 1518, we can imagine your future with you. One day when you own this ultimate timepiece, of course you will have demonstrated your relentless dedication to your work and your success, but now imagine you're driving around New Zealand and the scenery just unfolds like the Lord of the Rings trilogy directed by Peter Jackson. All around you are majestic mountains, serene lakes, and vast open fields. You reflect on the last 40 years, the sacrifices you made, the pain you endured that most people around you couldn't understand, the long hours spent providing for your family, and the moments when you gave generously to those in need. In the reflection of this wonderful life that you've lived, you pause, wondering if all the sacrifices were worth it. Imagine you glance down your wrist, and then a smile spreads across your face because you remember all those people who doubted you when they said,
"One does not simply walk into Patek Philippe and purchase a reference 1518.
Finally, if your holy grail is the jaeger-lecoultre reverso hybris mechanica calibre 185, this particular version doesn't just tell the time, it can predict the draconic phases of the moon for 25,000 years and the anomalistic lunar cycles for 50,000 years. Seeking this watch as a holy grail makes you think about what could happen thousands and thousands of years into the future. Maybe you are living out there in 52,025. You've surpassed any pinnacle of scientific achievement that we thought was possible. Perhaps you've transferred your consciousness into an undying vessel, like the sci-fi books used to say, and you've witnessed civilizations rise and fall, engaged in interplanetary warfare, and watched as stars were born and then vanished into black holes. Amidst this cosmic dance in the future, sadly, the memories of your loved ones will slowly start to fade away. You will long to sharpen those memories and images once again. But as you traverse time, eventually you will no longer remember the life that you once had. With every heartbeat that your new body or vessel is beating, you will feel this quiet, heavy sorrow of saying goodbye to the past. It will be as if you are both a participant and an observer in a grand, ever-changing play where each scene of the play is a reminder that both creation and loss are intertwined in the fabric of the universe. My question to you is, if that were all possible, would you give it a try?